Okay, for PhD. I now know more about your country than I know about Malaysia. From them, of course. You know, they are my spy. Yeah. No. What we are trying to do is, collectively, myself, Professor Hussein and Professor Mahmoud Al-Safir, we are trying to create an intelligence so that the students that study with us can bring back this knowledge to their home country. So I have one student who is studying or looking at your health services. Another is looking at your university system or your higher education. I have one who is looking at JCD, Jordan Civil Defense. I got two students looking at the financial and banking industries. I got one student who wanted to do pharmaceutical, but Professor Bashir came back and joined Al-Zaituna. Okay, so I hope that he will continue doing that. And I got a few more other students. Ali Matar, who presented paper today, he is looking at the financial aspect. Now he's studying Malaysia. You can do exactly the same thing for Jordan. Yeah? I have one who's doing with JCD. Abdullah, she's looking at leadership. You know, how can we improve the leadership of JCD to maximize, to develop the human capital? So you can see, it's not just knowing what goes into the equation, it's how you manage the equation. So what is human capital? It consists of the individual's capabilities, knowledge, skills, experience, what we call SKAC. Skills, knowledge, abilities, competencies. Of the company's employees and managers, as they are relevant to the task at hand, as well as the capacity to add to this reservoir of knowledge, skills, and experience through individual learning. Please, Dr. Zainal, don't have this in the exam. I cannot remember the whole thing. Yeah? I don't expect you as MBA to do that. But what I expect you to do is that, you know, when we talk about human capital, we're talking about the skills, knowledge, abilities, and capabilities, or sometimes known as competencies. Now, if I was to ask you, I always call it soul searching. Sometimes you just need peace time just to yourself. As an MBA student, you just need to reflect. If I ask you to list all of your skills, knowledge, abilities that you have, and competencies that you have, can you do it?
Not really.
Not really. Why?
Because there's some skills or some ability it can't be shown until it faces something that it can kill.
That you have to, yes, you have to show.
Exactly.
Right. When I put you to task, then only I can see your leadership ability.
Yeah.
But if I ask you, can you rate your leadership ability? Of course, everybody will rate yourself 5. On a scale of 1 to 5, most of us will rate higher. But if you honestly can, and there are instruments, if you Google, you can find instruments that can ask you to rate your capabilities. I do this for my my BBA class for consulting. There are 8 competencies in consulting. I ask students to actually evaluate and provide evidence. If you say you are 5, what is your evidence? Yeah? It's better that you start with 1, then I can help to teach you. But if you say you're already 5, it's difficult for me to teach you. Okay? So, human capital is SKAC. Skills, knowledge, abilities, and competencies. That collectively, you contribute to the organization through learning. Now, let me ask all of those who are working. Does your organization support your learning?
Yes, sure.
Very much?
Yeah, big time.
Big time. How do they do it?
They give us training courses in or outside of Jordan.
Okay.
They let me come to my university and took my hour working here.
Okay, good. Okay. So they give you EAP, we call it, Employee Assistance Program, where they give you opportunity to learn.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, when you are faced with ROTI, ROTI, return on training investment, that 10,000 JD that I spend on you so that you can continue your MBA, what do I get in return?
Working for them and Yeah.
Right. Now, I can be very naughty. This person doesn't have an MBA. I didn't spend 10,000 on him. He can give me the same kind of work that I gave you. Not really. Why?
Because
He looks
you
smart.
have knowledge as me.
Okay. Can you show me
Show you what?
your knowledge? Can you show me your skills?
By telling you or what?
Demonstrate it. Prove it.
I told you, I cannot just tell you all my skills because there's some skills it cannot be shown until you work on it, يعني, or you face some job, it create your skills.
Now you know why training managers hate the idea of sending people to train. Because when top management asks you, what is ROTI? What is your return on training investment? He cannot show it. He cannot prove it. But actually you can. For example, if your company have what we call career assessment, and you never went through the MBA, she went through the MBA, I give you exactly the same kind of situation, what we call a case for you to solve. Would I expect there to be a difference in his analytical skills versus yours? So this is how, when we talk about accounting for people, how do you prove that when you invest in people, you get return?
Exactly.
Yeah?
Yes.
This is our dilemma. And a lot of times the HR people, if you, because I have to relate this to HR, they get very angry because top management, when you come to the board, in production line, you can actually prove. You send people for training, there is a marked increase in the rate of return, in terms of yield, in terms of mistakes, reduction in mistakes. But for intellectual kind of things, for example, a manager, a middle manager type of people, you cannot actually account for it. Very difficult to prove. Yeah? So,
Excuse me.
Yes.
Before you move from this step, I want to do something.
Okay.
We have a problem in Jordan.
Yes.
Always when you go to fill application and to have a work or a new job, they ask you for experience. Excuse me, if you let me to work in your company, how will I get my experience?
Right.
Yani always, I read before 2 days ago something, someone offered for a job, okay? And there's some guys, he filled the application and he returned it back to the company, and the manager, he asked for 5 years experience, okay? He tell them, okay, let me work in your company, let me get my 5 experience. So everybody in Jordan asks for experience. Give me the chance to get the experience.
Now that explains why unemployment in Jordan is 12.5%.
Exactly.
Yeah? And majority of those unemployed are Jordanians.
Yani there's no hope for the fresh graduate to work in Jordan. That's why they looking for
Please, they are already crying now. No hope. For those no experience. Now, why is that? Because we face the same problem in Malaysia.
Because the company, they don't want to get both offered for new people, they're not trained or they're not educated enough, or for exactly.
Right. Now, knowledge, I keep touching it. Let's stop touching it. Knowledge, skills, experience. Yeah? The experience component is very relative.
Yes.
Would a fresh graduate versus yourself differ in performance? No. You're going for a marketing executive position. She's a fresh graduate, never worked before. You have experience.
Yes.
Would I expect a marked difference in your performance?
Oh, of course, yes. But you have to give her a chance to improve her skills.
I just answered your question through your own answers. That's how HR manager thinks. Because given somebody no experience and somebody some experience, at the salary that I'm offering, 400 or 700, I get more value for money by employing whom?
For the experience.
Sorry. Yeah? How to change this?
How?
Okay, MBAs, your role is business solution.
You should answer this question.
I can.
Yes.
Your MBA should not be theoretical.
What do you mean by?
It needs to change the culture of the organization.
Okay, that is if you are lucky enough that you are in the organization. So if you are in that position, change it. But for us, the people who are generating MBAs, people who are supposed to be going out there and get work, we have to retool you. Because many MBA programs, and again, if you read the reports on MBA education, many MBA programs are still very theoretical. Your MBA program, your MBA classes, what percentage is exam? Is it 50-50, 60-40?
It's 50, 30.
Final exam is what?
50.
50.
Mid
Mid-exam?
30.
30. That means,
Yes.
and he's going to report to the team, this guy is dangerous.
No,
No.
it's not.
The issue is we face the same problem in Malaysia. Because 50% is finals, that means coursework is 50. Now, out of coursework 50, 30 is quiz. Midterm. 10% is quiz. And 10% is just participation. Or research. 90% exam. Where is your experience?
There's no experience.
There's
no experience.
No experience. Okay?
You can start from university.
You have to start here.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm not the one, because my message is transformation, not Arab Spring. Because during the conference, we were talking about Arab Spring. I'm not here to generate Arab Spring. No. My role here is to generate the rethinking of how we prepare our human capital. If you prepare your human capital on theory, if the job requires theory, wonderful. But tell me, working people, can you use theory at the workplace?
Sorry?
Can you use theory, the theories that you learn in MBA? Can you use them at the workplace? No. Thank you. Yeah? You can't.
Yeah. That's why I feel sorry for Jordan.
Yes. Don't feel sorry for Jordan. You know, as the song says, don't cry for me, Argentina. Don't cry for Jordan. Do something about it.
Yes.
Yeah? Do something about it. The way we did it with our student is that the faculty realize it, and then we go back to the student and we ask the student, and the student concur. When I go back to my job, I cannot bring anything that I learned from your class because it's theoretical. Now, let me give you an example what I did to my class. I teach manpower development and training. Yes, the exams component is still 40%, 60% coursework. But in the 60%, I refuse to have any midterm. You can do that. And the faculty, I know, again, it requires some ministerial decision making. You have to sell the idea to them. Now, how do we do that? In my class, and my son can attest to this because I teach a lot of Arab students. In the last class, all of them were Arabs. What happened is, for my class, in manpower development and training, from A to Z, I teach you how to become a trainer. So you start with doing a training needs analysis, then you do your training plan, then you do your training proposal training plan, and then you do actual training.
So you are a trainer now.
Yes, I train trainer.
You have another job.
Hey, that's what I do. Yeah? I have got 24 years experience doing that. My students, and as mentioned just now, remember I asked you, can you understand English? Or if you have a problem, I allow my class to be conducted and the training to be conducted in Arabic. So what we did was a group of my students went to the embassy of Yemen in Malaysia and conducted training to His Excellency, right down to his secretary. Practical? Yes. In the exam, I still ask them, how do you do training needs analysis? How do you do all of these things? Unless you've done the training, you will not know how to answer it. But my point is, it's not theoretical. It's practical. Here are the 5 steps. Okay? So, Have I given you a clue? Again, don't go Arab Spring on me. Yeah? You do it through revision of the curriculum. Yeah. But having said that, in Malaysia now, even in my school, there is a movement back to 50%. Yeah? 50-50.
As theoretical and practical.
Yes. Because what they found is that many students, if they get high marks on their 50%, say they get 56, all they need to get an A, because A is now 80, is how much? Yeah, about 30 or 50 of their final.
Not so much.
So it does not reflect very well in terms of your ability, your true ability. So that's why we go back to 50-50. But my caution to my colleagues is that even though it's 50-50, don't go 30% midterm. It should be coursework. If you want to have a midterm, 10%. Because you don't want to burden the student the whole chapter in the finals 50%. So you can have like 3 chapters here and then the other chapters during the finals. It can be done. Yeah. Alright, thank you for raising that problem. Because unless we solve this problem, you will not be able to improve the situation in Jordan. Now, come back to your original problem, experience. My 9 students who went through my training and trained the Embassy of Yemen, can they claim that as experience?
Yes, you get experience.
Can you prove it?
Yes, you have all training for this.
And you have your report.
Yes. And
Yeah.
maybe you record it and make a note.
Right. Whatever you do in the classroom, as part of classroom, is recorded. I ask my student, you submit a copy to me. You make sure you keep a copy to yourself, so that when you come out, you can prove it. Now you say, Zainal, does this work? Yes. Previously, I taught this 3 years now in Unit 10. My first year student have graduated and went back to Saudi Arabia. They are now, one is a teacher, now he went back and became like a manager of a school. And part of his duty is training. I got 2 who went back to Iraq and became HR/training manager. And then what the company did was they write to me and asked me to verify whether or not this person did actually do training.
Yes, actually.
Yes. So, you have experience. Now, I'm not saying that's the only way to enhance your classroom experience. There are many other ways. Again, it's subject to the creativity of your faculty. And you. You may want to give suggestion. Again, remember, you are all adult students. You're not baccalaureates.
Yes.
Yeah? Alright. Moving on. What are the complementary capitals? We have intellectual capital, we have social capital, organizational capital, and also knowledge. Now, one of the faculty members during the conference is very interested to do PhD with me or with somebody in Malaysia on social capital. He told me that social capital is going to be a big thing in Jordan. Now, in any of your classes, what do you know of social capital? What is social capital? Okay. When we talk about the interrelationship between all of these different capitals in an organization, we have the human capital with your skills, behavior, knowledge, and if you can put that experience also, you can. But again, experience you cannot capture. Yeah? It's not like, Abang, what is that movie that we can reprogram the brain? My son, myself, our favorite pastime is watching movies.
Unlimited.
Is it unlimited?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. If I can siphon your brain and actually show, wow, what can experience is.
Much paper.
Yes. Yeah? It doesn't work that way. Now, social capital, and I didn't touch it. Value, relationship, and networks. How do you enhance value and relationship? How do you generate that network? Now, let me ask you this. I heard that a few of you are in the pharmaceutical business, or in the pharmacy business. Are you networked to each other?
Not for me, I'm working as administrator.
Administrator.
So actually, I'm working with my partners in different levels with different strategies.
Right.
So first of all, when I'm trying to contact with them, a lot of things I have to learn from them.
Right.
Okay. Then a lot of procedures they have in their own works. They try to give me an idea about it.
Mhm.
This is a mutual interaction between both of us.
Right.
Yeah.
You, the administrator,
Yeah.
she's the pharmacist.
Yeah.
How do you link them? How do you network them? So social capital is enhancing them. The different people with different different things that they can bring to the workplace. How do you harness them? Yeah, that is an issue in many organizations. They do not know how to utilize their social capital. The other type of capital is organizational capital. Your structures, your culture, your process. Just now, sir, I heard you say, we have got to change the culture. We got to change the process. The hardest things to change is attitude. Second hardest things to change is culture.
For sure. Yes.
Can I ask you to change your culture?
It's difficult.
How?
You have to start from primary school. Or all the government have to take this subject to make it.
Right. By the time you get the government going, you get a revolution. Yeah? You get a revolution. It has to start from the home. It has to start from the home. The basic family unit. Father, mother, child. And then it goes on. But how do you undo, in this case, how old is Jordan? How old is the culture of Jordan?
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
Actually, yeah, a lot of levels there. Because it's coming with modern cities.
Mhm.
It's different from rule and from different geographical
Geographical.
atmosphere.
Okay. But in general, are there some common Jordanian culture?
Yes.
Now, I'm an outsider,
Yeah.
and I can see that it's common. How old is that? Since you were independent, 1947 or 48? 46? 46?
Yes.
Maybe before that.
Maybe before that. How to undo how many years of culture and many years of cultural ingrained?
You have to plan a program. It's not easy.
Yes. That's the job of the Prime Minister. In our case for Malaysia, that was the job of Tun Mahathir.
I think
Not him alone, the whole government infrastructure had to envision something. What we should be in the year 2020. Does Jordan have your 2020 vision? Some,
5 year plan, I think.
Yes.
All of them.
all government. I noticed that some other countries, I'm not sure which Arab country, they do have some. I think Iraq had that 5-year plan, and also the vision, the 2013 vision, 2015, 2020 vision. I'm not sure about Jordan. Okay,
We have, but not solid.
not solid. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
And I would like you to talk about the Malaysian experience.
Okay.
How did you develop your country? It was a poor country, you know, it's
Yes.
a well-known country. That's why really I'm here in the lecture to
How we do it?
to hear from you. What did you do in your country?
I will. I did the same thing at the conference. I will show you what we did. Because my goal is, I'm giving you the notes so you can see what we did. But the lesson is, you cannot copy.
No, and I'm not
No,
copying.
no. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying you're copying.
Just
What
to
I'm
learn.
saying is,
I'm
your
not
Jordan
copying.
is unique.
Exactly, yeah.
You need to look at what is applicable,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
and how to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because in our culture and our experiences, there was some what we call enablers, things that push
Yes.
us, and there's some that are what we call disablers, that actually is distracting. Yeah. So if you can just hold on, when I finish this segment, I will go into my slide from the conference. I will show you what we did. Yeah, thank you. Other questions?
Maybe you make it as a Malaysia because the people which have the power, they make the change. Because that they make a change easy, not like us.
All right.
And Malaysia have a potential, not like Jordan. Jordan maybe a lot of, so much poor country. You know?
That was my point. Because for Malaysia, if I can just jump one ahead and come back, for Malaysia, the driving force was the Prime Minister. Yeah, the driving force was the Prime Minister. For Jordan, the situation is very different. The driving force is the king. Because everything goes back to the king. Yeah? So, if you talk about...
Prime Minister.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, the Prime Minister who puts the plans.
Correct.
The king.
The Prime Minister will carry it out. Is an executive.
يعني هو executive Prime Minister.
Right. But
What's the plan?
again, I only been here 4 days.
For the government. Yeah.
Yes.
Not its work, yeah.
Okay. So if that's the case, then what is your master plan?
Okay.
Go ahead.
I will tell you something. When you talked about social capital, when you said that valuable relationships and networks, I think we have a problem in the network. Yes.
In Jordan.
I'm sure, yeah. Yes. And, because we have great minds, we have decent people, we have people who wants to work, who wants to develop the country. Okay, but I think there is a very big problem in the network and the valuable relationship. Every ministry, I feel like that, every ministry work by himself.
Right.
Okay, and you mentioned something in Amman, it's very different from Erbil, from Karab. Okay, it's not the same culture and the development,
The development.
hospitals, the roads,
Yeah,
you know.
Amman is more.
Okay,
When-
this is very this is
Right.
interesting subject.
What you just talked about, I will show that in the slides that I presented at the conference. And you will see how we overcome our challenge. Now, can you do the same for yours? Again, the strategy may be different.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. So give that thought. Let me finish this part and then we go jump there.
I was so excited you are coming here.
Okay.
I told Dr. Abdulaziz I want to hear the Malaysian.
Inshallah, I will share with you. Alright. So let's move on so that we don't dwell on this so we can get to the other slide. When we talk about intellectual capital, again, I will not bore you with the definitions. You can read this in the notes. Yeah? Now, when we talk about the factor that includes human capital, social capital, and organizational capital, the economic value of two categories of intangible asset of a company, organizational and human capital. All of this, again, when I present the Malaysian slide, you will see how it comes together. Yeah? Network of relationship constitute a valuable resource for conduct of social affairs. This is, you say, the problem that you are facing. How do we overcome it? Yeah? How do we overcome it? It increases the efficiency of action, aids cooperative behavior. Now, in Jordanian situation, it could have worked the other way. It could have stopped development or not make or allow development to take its natural course. In Malaysia, we use it to enhance development. And I will share with you in a few minutes how we do it. Yeah? How we do it. And again, all of this you can read by yourself. But more importantly, when we talk about organizational capital, it is talking about that whole system of organization. So you as a strategist, again, MBA people, you are strategists. When you go back to your company, they expect you to be analytical and they expect you to be strategic. Because that's what makes you different from a person who never went through MBA. So strategically, you have to understand the reporting structures, the process, the systems, and also the information and communication infrastructure. Knowledge management is about understanding this information. You know that Malaysia is going through our elections now. Right? I rushed back, or I'm supposed to go back on Friday, because originally we thought we were going to have election on the 27th of April, but it was moved to 5th of May. Alhamdulillah. Yeah? But when it comes to how they are trying to influence the country, I now don't like reading my Facebook, because they are using the ICT to influence the mind of the people. Almost everybody is talking about it in the Facebook. Now my idea of Facebook is I put up all the things I've eaten for the day, so that my friends can see what I'm doing. You know, my personal thing. Even if you Google if you add me, Zainal Ahmad, in the Facebook, you will see I'm talking about my experiences in Jordan. That's what Facebook is about. But in terms of social capital, in terms of organization capital, now people are using Facebook so much so that they are even discrediting politicians. This politician is this politician is that, using Facebook. The same thing in your organization. If you take it one notch down to the organizational level, are you using ICT to enhance the culture of the organization or to hamper? Gossips in your organization. Where do you get it from?
Secretaries.
Of course. Shh, don't say that. But where do you actually know about it first? Was it word of mouth?
Yes.
Or was it through email?
Nowadays it's through email.
Through email.
Yes, or social networking.
Right. Many times now, ICT is used to channel all this anti-organizational activities. Now, a strategic manager has to use IT to do the other way. Case in point, now, for example, previously, students, when they are angry at faculty members, they blast through the Facebook.
Right.
Can I stop you from doing that?
No. For sure no.
Now, I'm doing the same thing. Whatever I'm doing, I blast through the Facebook to all my students. So there is counter-intelligence. You say I'm this, and here is the counter-argument. And you're using that. Alright, let's not dwell too much on that. And lastly, before we move on, knowledge is the connection between all of this capital. Human, social, and organizational capital that produces intellectual capital. Case in point, remember I talked about my 7 Jordanian students? They are now providing intelligence about your country to me. If I was a bad guy, yes. But no, I'm not saying I'm a good guy. I'm an academician. All of this intelligence that we have gathered about Jordan, we want to make it into a book and bring it back to Jordan and say, this is what your people, meaning the 7 students, see about the country. It's not Zainal analyzing, no. It's the students themselves. I'm just helping them using the right tools and using the right methodology to highlight the problems. Now it's up to whoever is listening. And you raise that point. You know, the responsibility may rest at the Prime Minister or the ministries. So this has to be channeled back to the, what we call, person in charge. Yeah? Now, moving on. Human capital, social capital, organizational capital, if you channel it properly, will gain or generate intellectual capital for your organization. Any organization in America has this model. How do I know it? When I was doing undergraduate, I was teaching undergraduate in 1994, and when my student graduated in 1997,